If you were to make your feelings into a dress, what would it look like? I left the Angelica after watching A24's Mother Mary, directed and written by David Lowery, starring Anne Hathaway and Michaela Coel, asking that question to myself, wondering that question for other people in my life. And I want to ask that to my clients in therapy. And I absolutely loved the film. I wanted to open with that question because the fabrics were characters in this film. Absolutely. And the sound of the fabric really stays with you. The sounds of the scissors and the ripping of the paper as well. The creation of this dress and those unspoken moments between two friends who had a huge falling out. That's what I got from this movie. The cost of fame or the cost of your career, really apply it to any career. You can get absorbed in it. What is the cost? You cost the relationships in your life. And that's what happens to Sam and Mary. Absolutely perfect casting. Michaela Coel as Sam, Anne Hathaway as Mother Mary. They did a beautiful job, not just playing two best friends that have had this falling out and became estranged and have been hurt, but they did an incredible job playing a fashion designer and a pop star. And their lines alone, I would die to have lines like that in a stage play. That's how it felt. Now, before we get into some of these lines, make sure you hit subscribe if you haven't already, because I also just finished watching Beef Season 2, and there's so much I have to say about all of the couple dynamics on that show. And I'm also doing videos for every episode of Euphoria Season 3 each week. Let me know in the comments if you also saw Mother Mary and what you thought of the movie. Let me know if you also thought that the message was really simple. Maybe not simple, because friendships are hard and grief comes in so many different forms. So maybe it was just really clear. I'm going to go with clear, because that's also what Mary wanted when she came to Sam. She also, Anne Hathaway did this really beautifully. There's these moments where she can't use her words, and so she describes it like from movement. Also, I really want to learn that dance that she does for Michaela Coel with no music. That's my type of contemporary dance. I want to be able to move like that. So the story is set up immediately. Mary is preparing for this performance. She's getting costume fitted. She hates it. She's crying, and she immediately leaves, and she goes to her former best friends and former designers' fashion house unannounced. And she's like, I need a dress, Sam. And Sam's like, don't you have something? Like, what do you have? She shows the photo, and Sam's like, tell me 3 things that are wrong with it. And Mary says, doesn't feel like me. And Sam says, anything else? Mary says, no, it just doesn't feel like me. And Sam's like, and I know you. When you close your eyes, what do you see in your head? Mary says, just me. But when they start getting into it, and Sam's like, you didn't even call, you just show up out of nowhere, and you want me to make you a dress after we haven't spoken in how long? Mary starts repetitively saying, I'm sorry. And Sam's like, stop saying sorry. It's making me uncomfortable. And of course, we've seen this before. Mary's like, I'm sorry. And then this is probably my favorite line of the movie. So when Mary again, under her breath, says, "I'm sorry," Sam says, "Say it 2 more times so I know you mean it. But not yet. Surprise me with your sincerity." Oh, I love that. And hold on to that one because it's coming back. And I love when lines come back. So then they start walking to this barn where Sam is going to work on Mary's dress. And Mary's like, "So how is this going to work?" And that's when Sam says, "You tell me how you're feeling, and I turn your feelings into a dress." They start going over conditions. Mary says, "No red, no halo." And Sam says, "No halo. Will anyone recognize you without one? Are we reinventing you? What do you want?" And she says, "I want," and that's another one of those moments where she is trying to convey what she wants through dance. And so Sam is trying to guess what she wants out of this dress. And Mary keeps on doing the movement, opening her hands away from her face. And Sam is like, "Authenticity, clarity." And Mary says, "Yes, yes, I want clarity. I want to have a point." Once they start catching up, we learn that Mary's mom has passed away. And that detail, plus what happened to Sam and Mary's friendship, I think it's a story about grief and different kinds of grief and how everybody grieves differently. We also learn that this dress is for a comeback performance after an accident that happened at one of Mary's concerts. She is taking her bow and she's stepping backwards, and then she falls off of the raised platform. She has her harness, of course, but she was dangling there, and people filmed it, and everyone, fans and the media, were left wondering if it was a slip or if she did it on purpose. We learned that Mary was obviously burning herself out as a pop star. And another line that I loved from Sam is, "Well, you could just quit. People say quitting's for cowards, but actually it's one of the bravest things that you can do." But Sam really does know her. And Sam says, "But no, this is what you do. You make people love you. You're so happy singing your sad songs." Mary says, "Did I really hurt your feelings so badly?" And Sam says, "Yes, but that's okay. That's what feelings are for." Something tells me Sam's in therapy. Honestly, if any of my friends did what Mary did to Sam, to me, I would spend so much time in therapy talking about it. I would have kept the Vogue magazine in a trunk as well. So we finally learn what happened to their friendship. Sam takes out Mother Mary's Vogue cover and flips to the cover story. There's a costume that Sam made for Mary, looking like Joan of Arc. And the quote says, "I wanted to look like Joan of Arc." And Sam says, "No, I wanted you to look like Joan of Arc." And Sam so beautifully describes her designs were her story. She says, "That's my story. I didn't expect you to tell it, but I thought you'd give me credit." Sam goes on to describe how hurt she was and how she actually did go see one of her shows, and then how emotional it made her. So emotional that it became this physical, spiritual pain that she experienced. So she left the show. She went home. The pain was in her wisdom tooth. She had the wisdom tooth removed. And when she woke up, she saw a trail of blood going down from her mouth, down all the way, all over her bed and onto the floor. And she describes how that pain manifested into an actual ghost. We learn later that it also follows Mary or is attached to Mary. In fact, another one of my favorite lines is when Mary says, what did it look like? I saw your ghost. I saw her too. And Sam is like, you can't even let me have my own ghost story. And so Mary tells hers. And she, in fact, has also seen this same ghost that was created from their pain. A pain that they share. A grief that they share. When Mary finishes her ghost story, she says that the ghost is now in her. And it's here. And she says, maybe I have to keep her in there. Maybe that's my job now. But I don't know how much longer I can do it. And Sam says, we have to cast her out. She takes red fabric and Mary's like, no. And Sam says, you want the dress to look like you, and this is a part of you. Then we literally see these two best friends reconnect with a little help of magic. And Sam helps Mary set herself free. And Sam creates this beautiful, powerful red dress for Mary. This is how the I'm sorry line comes back. If you recall, my favorite from the beginning, when Sam says, say it 2 more times. But not yet. Surprise me with your sincerity. When Mary is finally found, of course, everybody was looking for her. And when she is put in a car to leave before the car door closes, Mary says, and Sam, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. She says it 3 times. And with that, again, I feel like the message of this story was so clear. Say sorry to the people that you love when you hurt them. And yes, grief is powerful. So powerful it could feel like an obligation, because grief is a reminder that we experience a love profound. I always say to my clients, grief is love looking for somewhere to go, and in this case, somewhere to live. And grief can live there. Grief is a sign of a working heart. Sometimes maybe it does feel like that obligation, like Mary said, I feel like I have to keep it there because it reminds us that we want to be better, or reminds us that we feel guilty, but it should also remind us to then forgive ourselves and live. The grief can be there, but the pain doesn't always have to be. The truth is, grief never really goes away. We just grow around it. And the other truth is, there are some days where the grief feels really, really big. And that's okay. Feel those really big feelings, and remember, just like we saw Sam and Mary do, you could create really beautiful things from grief. Like a dress. Let me know in the comments below what yours would look like. I'm going to spend some time and think about what mine would look like. And I will see you next time. Thank you for listening to what I had to say today about Mother Mary in theaters now. All my love, always and always. I'm Trisha Fuerte, and this has been a Fuerte Human Experience.